Hey guys, today I want to talk about FM8 and I'm not gonna explain FM8 and how everything works. There are a lot of good videos about that and there's the manual. I want to explain sort of how to approach this, how to approach learning this, and also some little things that are not mentioned in the manual that are gonna make your life a whole lot easier, I think. And for me, FM8 took quite a while to master because it's sort of a delicate synthesizer, and there was a certain point where I knew everything about it. I had read the manual, I practiced with it, I knew exactly what every button and knob did, but still my sounds weren't quite up there. So I started wondering why that was, and I decided to spend a half hour each day just practicing with it and not reading about anything, just practicing making sounds. And then eventually I finally started to get better with it. And this made me realize that there are some things that are not really mentioned in the manual, but they can make it so much easier to work with because it's such a delicate synthesizer that requires a lot of precision. You notice that pretty quickly, but there are also some things that are not quite obvious at first, but I think they might help you. So without further ado, this is gonna be my list of very useful tips I've found in FM8. So the first tip right here has to do with the FM matrix, and we can see that right now I have one carrier, and if I drag up here, I can set E as the modulator for that carrier. So now I have a basic FM setup with E modulating the frequency of F. So this is normally where I would start, and then I could use D as well to feed into F, and I could use C. But later I found that this works well, but often you get more complex sounds if you feed them back into each other. So instead of doing this where they all go into F, I would much rather set it like this, and C goes into D, D into E, E into F. That's and this is a very general purpose trick. This, of course, you're completely free to use this matrix however you want. These are just things that I found to work a lot more often than the other situation. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't try the other situation, but that's the goal here, to give you sort of shortcuts to cool sounds. So the next trick has to do with the envelopes. If I have E and F, I can see the envelope of E right here. And if I draw an envelope like that, something like this. So this is sort of what it would look like normally. And then I would set my amount of feedback into F. And then we start hearing that point where the signal breaks apart, which is something that you're going to hear a lot in FM8. And the problem with this is, with this setup, is that now I don't have any room to sort of move, to sort of scale. The maximum here is right at the top, and I can't really go past that. So lately I've been drawing my envelopes way smaller and setting the amount a lot higher. So I might, for example, set the amount to 100 and then set my envelope a lot lower, like this. So now we're not having that full 100 going into F, but we do have the room with the envelope if we want to. So now if you want, you can give it a very distorted sort of peak there, but for the rest of the time it's just going to be a low envelope. So I guess the tip is use the envelopes on a smaller scale, draw them a little bit lower in the envelope and use a higher amount. Now you have more headroom to play with in your envelope and in your sound design. So that was tip 2. Then tip 3 regards the offset of oscillators, which is something that I didn't use at all in the beginning. So if I have E here and I set the offset, we get sort of that sound, a sort of messed up detuning, beating sound. And you can hear it has some sort of a wobble in there. You can hear it move. So now it sort of automatically wobbles, and normally I would set that with the ratio, so I would do something like this. Which sound pretty much exactly the same. But the problem with this is that now if I play multiple notes, or if I have a melody, the frequency of this operator will change, and therefore that speed, pitch, wobble will also change. You hear that for the higher note it's faster, and this is a problem that we don't have with the offset. It's always going to be consistent. So if we try that again, set this to 0.5 and then set the offset. It's exactly going to be the same speed for all pitches. So another octave higher. And since we're talking about the ratio, this was sort of the most difficult thing for me to understand and to work with. So I mostly just used 1 or close to 1, or I used 0.5 or 0.25 to go another octave lower. Remember that with the ratio it doubles every time you want an octave higher. So this is 1 octave, then 0.5 is an octave higher, then 1 is an octave higher, then 2 is another octave higher, and then 4, like that. So it's pretty difficult to think in semitones with this. And I always stayed close at the 2 or 1 region, until I found that a lot of presets were actually using very different ratios as well, and they were still sounding very good. So I guess my advice with this is experiment with the ratio a lot. It's really the power of FM8. And if you're going for the weird ratios, which you should, it's often a better idea to use them on the modulator that's not going directly to the output, and then leave the carrier sort of intact. So if I feed multiple operators into each other like this, and we go to the operator page, this is a very cool place to experiment with those different offsets and ratios. So right now, as you can see, we have a lot of weird ratios going on, like this 9 and this 3. But still, it sounds, well, in this case, it sounds very aggressive, but still it sounds good, and it sounds in tune, most importantly. And now we can sort of dim this effect by using the envelopes to only have those weird ratios at certain parts in our sound. So only at the attack, for example. So that's a quick note about the ratios. Just start experimenting with this a lot. Then there is the morph square, which is another thing that I didn't use for quite a while. But this is perfect because we can set up 4 sounds at 4 different corners and then morph between them. And because in FM8 a subtle difference can make a big difference in the sound, this is great because now we can experiment with 4 different sounds and sort of try and see what the best combination of those sounds is. So let's say first I say here normalized timbres. And then I go to my advanced page, and you can see right now that we're in the lower left corner. So this is our sound there, and if I move this around, you can see that in all the corners it's the same. But I can now drag this square to the corner on the right here, and then start changing a sound. And I can change a lot of things about it, like I can even change the waves and stuff like that. I can change the output, so instead of F, I could have E, for example. So now this is going to be my lower right corner, and then I can move it again, and then I can maybe use these two. get the idea. Right now we have 3 corners set up. I'm gonna leave it at that just to save some time. Now if I go to the easy morph square and I move this around, I'm gonna move the sound, and you can see that in the spectrum overview right there. And I can make that morphing more smooth by setting the sort of random seed. So you can see that now I have this sort of field of white dots, which basically means it shows the outer limits of the random seed. So it's gonna take some parts of the sound from areas around where you are, which makes it a bit smoother. Now, if I drag this around, we will hear how many new sounds we have that we can choose from. So this is great, especially for complex sounds where you want to find the best possible position for the sound. And another way to do that is using the timbre controls, and this can change the sound quite a lot. For example, this harmonic one is really important. If I set it to 1 and 2. So that's another very important thing right there. You just want more control over your sound, and you want to sort of find the best position in the sound. Then lastly, there are some more tips, but I think I'm gonna save the rest of them for other videos. Because this one is getting a bit lengthy. There's just one more thing I want to show you, and that is that the modulation system right here, where we have the LFOs and stuff like that, to be honest, I never really liked that. It's pretty limited. The only thing you can do is modulate the amount of an operator, so basically this slider, and that's great and all, but what if you want to have multiple modulators for the pitch, or what if you want to modulate one of the master sliders? Well, they don't have this very sophisticated modulation system built in, but they do have MIDI learn, which is a big thing. If you're in Ableton or Logic, you have the MIDI effects, and it's pretty awesome for that. So if I just open a modulator for now, and I just choose an LFO. So what I need to do here is, and the order is kind of important here, I first click a knob that I want, right? It's sort of selected. Then I click the MIDI learn knob right here. And right now it listens to this LFO, and I can set the rate a bit slower. I can set the output level, and I can set the offset to scale it into a different direction. So if I set the offset a bit higher, it will be mostly on the right side. Now I can set the output level again, and I can keep scaling them until it's somewhere where I want it. Now, if I want to use another modulator here as well, in Logic it's even more tricky, because as soon as you're opening another one, it wants to assign that to this knob as well. So I have to switch off the LFO. So this is the right way. I switch off the LFO, use a new LFO, make sure you set it to a new CC number, and disable the envelope again. So now I have 2 LFOs right here, and now I find the new knob that I want to control, and let's say it's this morph square. So I click that, and then I click the MIDI learn, and you can see it starts moving there. So it now listens to this LFO. I can set it a bit slower, and then I can enable the other LFO again. So those are my quick tips to make your life with FM8 a bit easier, I hope. If you like this video, please like it and comment. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.
The Pyramind Mentorship Network connects you to experienced professionals for truly customized private training in music production, sound design, music business, and more. Use our scheduling tool to select the type of training you want. Pick your mentor. Find a day and time that works best for you, then book your session. Your appointment will be confirmed instantly. Study only what you want. Progress at your own pace. Pay as you go. And do it all from the comfort of your home or studio. Our global network of industry experts are here to help you. Visit pyramind.com/mentorship to get started.